We're Shawn and Stacey Thomas. We live in McKinney, Texas. We've been living there for 5 years.
So when we first moved into our neighborhood, there were no homes built yet. So we decided that we would take our children and go pray over our land. And then we took some of the land, some of the dirt from our particular land, and we filled little jars. And on the front, it just said, please pray for us in our new home. And we passed them out to our friends and family. And over the next 2 months, they prayed over those. And we took that back and we dumped all of those jars, those prayers, back onto our land. And then our slab was poured over that. We also were intentional about walking around with our kids to all of our neighbors' homes and specifically standing on their lots and praying for them and praying for what God had for them, and that God would bring the neighbors to our neighborhood for our family, and that we could be a family for them as well.
When people moved in, we would bake them cookies or brownies or whatever and go over and introduce ourselves that way, and always give our contact information, which they would typically give theirs back. So that's what kind of started everything. And then from there, we started just doing different get-together. We just think of reasons to get together. We had a salsa contest, we had an ice cream social, Cinco de Mayo, those types of things. I run the golf cart club, which sounds silly, but we just find reasons to get together on our golf carts and drive around. We'll have parades, we've done charity events, all sorts of things, and it's just other ways to build community.
I think for me, some of the obstacles that I feel like I have had in the past that I've had to get over are, I want my house to look perfect. So I say I'm not good at hospitality, but I want it to look perfect, and it doesn't have to. Like if your friend across the street is hurting, they just want you to sit and listen. They don't care what your house looks like. So I think that's a lot of it, and just the fear of rejection. Going up to someone's door and knocking on their door and saying, hey, we brought you something and you're our new neighbors and we welcome you here. And hey, by the way, we prayed over your home before you're here, so we know that you're in the right spot for right now. I would say that being more intentional has really forced me out of my comfort zone. It's forced me to meet people who I thought that I would never be friends with, and they've turned out to be the most wonderful people. And I think it's really forced us to not pack our schedule full and leave our schedule available for if our neighbor needs something. If a new one came up, if a new neighbor came up, we have time to bake something for them. If somebody's moving in down the street, we have time to run over and say, hey, we can stop mowing our yard for a few minutes. Do you need some help moving your stuff in? I think people know that we're available. That's the biggest thing, that we're open and available to whatever you need. And out of that, friends know that they can call on us, and they'll call us and say, can you just pray for me? Or they'll call us and say, I really need some help right now, I'm really struggling. Or my marriage is really hurting. Or my mom's in the hospital, can you please pray for me? Or I'm struggling, it's Mother's Day and my mom died last year. And it's just being there and being open to that. We're just open and available to whatever they need in that way. And when they want more, we're willing to give that.
I think people are looking for community and they want community. And if you don't have somebody that's helping facilitate community in your neighborhood, be that person. It's really not that hard.
It just takes one person to step out and say, hey, I noticed you and you're there and I see you. And in return, other people do the same. So I just love that it's like that love is that ripple effect that Jesus has taught us, that Jesus is that ripple effect. And I just love to see that in action.